all aboard the big, big train. Hey, what's happening, guys? Welcome back over to the channel. Appreciate you walking on in, coming on through, clicking on the video. Today we're going to listen to Big Big Train. It's been a little bit since we've listened to them last, but we're going to return to them with this final track off of their album Far Skies Deep Time, released in 2010 here, and it also says /2011, so somewhere right in there. We're listening to this track because it was requested and sponsored by Paul. So Paul, thank you so much for the support and thank you for the suggestion. Really, really appreciate that. And then I saw this had also been suggested by quite a few other people, such as Carter Link, Gaia Eternal, Bob Holtzman, David Taylor, Steve Campbell, and 476 Rocket. And I think that, Carter Link, I think that this is you as well. So I got you pulled up right here. Now, I'm excited to dive into this track. We got a 17-minute track to dive into here. Now, will it beat East Coast Racer, which, although I haven't heard a ton from the band, I still hold that track as the highest in highest regards. I think that's their best track that I've heard. I mean, it is their best track that I've heard, in my opinion. And even if it doesn't quite hit those heights, as long as it gets somewhere close to it, I'll be a happy camper. I almost said a campy happer. It's not what I meant to say. Let's go ahead and dive on into the music. We will talk about it a little bit after. The Wide Open Sea. Let's set our sails. Drums just collapsed in here.
The rain and the stars are my eyes. The clouds are my mind. The sea and the rain is my love.
I love that Mellotron just hovering in the back. That's a nice tonal shift on the guitar. Shuffle in that fill. That's good. That deep, resonating voice on the end of the line.
And so upon this tumbling sea, fathoms below, heavens above me.
It's good to hear David. I like how the rushing of their voices and the music is like waves. That's nice.
Sail for Les Marquis, from cradle bound for Calvary.
And I love that. See that deep resonance here at the end of those lines. It's really, really nice, beautifully haunting.
I feel so alive. How can it be upon this wide, wide open sea?
See, they've already established certain motifs. I like how they build upon that. It's like a breath, a musical breath. Inhale and exhale.
There was a time I was so alive. A
That synth. The accordion and then this synth kind of atmosphere kind of has an ambience there to it. That's David playing accordion? That's awesome. Man, what a talented individual.
I sing their song, I'm mesmerized. Sweat and the tears stream from my eyes. The shock impact on every line.
Sharp impact as he says it.
I sang to their souls all the dreams I would bring. Show them who they are, all they could be. All the ugliness, the beauty of the harsh reality. I gave them the man they want me to be. Held up the mirror so they could see themselves reflected. I made the myth where the mountains
Seems like a torrent of waters coming in.
begins. In the evening they'll be drinking, swinging along, drinking and brawling, telling tall stories, their fishy tales. Around and around on the merry-go-round. And all the love that they'll make between tousled sheets. Bed springs creak in time.
The flute and the way David sings here is
Heartbeats.
very soothing now.
Cover heels down the cobbled streets. Let us remind the old lovers for whom the
Pick
wine
up.
has turned sour. This could be the finest hour of their time.
out.
I've been waiting here
That was a cool transition.
time.
That organ.
I've been waiting for the longest night of my days. Out here alone.
Get it, Nick.
I've been waiting here a long time.
The melody of the organ and the guitar swirling around. With the backing vocals, very enchanting. Listen to all these melodies just floating and sparkling in the skies. Undercut. Makes it in the side stick action. That Mellotron came on back.
I'm so very far from here. Home is a long way from me. I'm so very far from me.
The song is very soothing and it's progressive.
Long way from this wide open sea.
I love when the flute comes through. The second time we've heard it come out of Len to take lead. Once again, David.
I'm so very far from here. Home is a long way from me.
This is feel good prog. Like how Nick just tumbled the toms into this. Or into this rhythm, I should say.
Let us speak of love, of home and hope, loving and leaving, of laughter and forgetting, and letting go.
sets pace, slowing it down, building it up. Allow those melodies to grow.
So let us speak of love, love and generosity. If we only have love, it's more than
That was a great, like, passionate held note from David. It's a little downturn on that key. They dropped it into something kind of ominous. That's it. The bass pop. Run on Phil. He's golfing. And the harmonics to end it. Don't let me forget to look for that live. Please don't let me forget to look for that live. I want to see it. There alongside the melodies. Super nice. Oh, I love a song that is a journey. I love a long track. I love a long song. You guys know that. I love something that you can bite into, sit down, and actually like just throw yourself into the musicians, the band's art, and just like let it ride. Just let it ride. And going on this ride with Big Big Train on this seaward journey is a wonderful, wonderful trip. Incredible melodies throughout. The whole track is just filled with beautiful, gorgeous melodies from every single person involved. Before I dive into it, though, would you mind if I should have looked exactly where it is, but can we just look at the greatest moment in this track, of which there are many great moments in this track, but the held sustained notes, that deep organ, you hear the deep depths of the bass coming through here. But the way that Nick just like gets into this, and of course everyone else obviously hops on, but listen to what everyone's doing at that section. Nick is probably the most obvious with, the drums and setting that new tempo, just, because the whole track up to this point has been relatively either slow to mid-paced. It stayed kind of even and constant as it's gone on. But this is the time that the tempo changes. Not something in the middle of the song, where a lot of songs would have a change in tempo or momentum in the middle somewhere just to spring it back up, and then maybe they slow it down at the end. No. Here we get kind of the opposite as the whole track kind of moves at an even pace. It builds into some very high highs, like radiant ones, and then it kind of shuts it all down, where we hear there the sustained notes of the organ and such. And then it just gets right into it. And so, when Nick begins that new pace, he's setting a wonderful, wonderful pace there. But it's also all the, once again, melodies that are happening behind here. Dave Gregory from XTC, Gregory Spotton on the keyboards. Gregory is you hear him Spotton, not XTC Gregory. Gregory Spotton. With the keys, he's providing this kind of almost funky wah-wah-esque ambience on the keys, it seems like, which I think is really cool because it retains some of the, for lack of a better word, peaceful melodies from the majority of this track and keeps it even in this fast, more tempestuous kind of area. So I really like that. And then Dave Gregory on the guitar, he kind of begins to match his speed with his playing at that particular point. I just thought it was such a cool moment. Right? He's kind of picking alongside with it, kind of soloing alongside that, right? And then even Andy Poole on the bass, when he comes in there, he steps out and stands out even more so, I would say, than any part of the track before, as he kind of pops up in there, adding almost, I wouldn't say a funk groove, because that's not what I mean, but adding a certain groove to the music that also works very well with the ambience from the keys from Spotton. So like, everything works really well in tandem there as they all jump off of that launching point from the organ in that middle section into this finale. And it's a brilliant, blazing finale, and I love how they ended it. And I think that this track features some of the most passionate vocals I've heard from Longden as well. And that was really cool. I brought it up in the middle of the track, of course, but I'm just always impressed by someone who's a multi-instrumentalist and just involves themselves in so many aspects of the music. The accordion we heard, that's Longden. The vocals, but the flute we heard, that's Longden, and he plays so many other things. The vibraphone we heard, that's Longden. So, like, I can imagine, playing this on stage, probably making his way around and, playing all these different instruments, almost like when we would watch like Gentle Giant, and how they would kind of be moving around the stage at certain points. And I feel like there would be probably a similar thing with him. I just want to do this before I forget, and I keep on talking about the track because knowing myself, I will forget this. But I'll tell you what I won't forget later. I don't want to reveal now, but I'm sure there's something I could find here. Okay. What else? I mean, it's just a really incredible journey to take. And like I said, I love how beautiful this whole song feels and sounds. It's just very beautifully sung, very beautifully played. Like I said, I think David has some of his best vocals in this particular track. And most of the track is, like I said, very peaceful, very, very just wonderful sounding, filled with light melodies and the way it all moves. But then that's that ending that just sets it off into a completely different pace, which I think is out of this world. Now, what I was going to do, it's apparently I can't. I was going to see if I could find a live version of the band playing this track because I would love to see that ending. But at least initially, I'm not seeing anything here about this track specifically. Let's see if we can get a live. I guess I could have typed that in, huh? Let me go back to the top. I should have typed in live. Brave Captain, Summer Show. No. So perhaps this song has not been played live, or at least obviously nothing that I see initially as I look through here really quick, which is unfortunate because I really wanted to see that ending. That's what I was getting to. I really wanted to see that ending and how they pulled that off live because it just sounds incredible, and I would love to actually see and place my eyes upon it. But for now, let's look at these lyrics. Of course, the song is broken into different parts and different movements. The first, the sea is my blood. The sea is my blood, which we heard at the very end. The sea is my blood, the rain and the stars are my eyes. The clouds are my mind, the sea and the rain is my blood. Part 2, from cradle to cavalry. Lying a hole right out this storm, doused all the sails, I let the boat drift. And so upon this tumbling sea, fathoms below, heavens above me. I'm setting sail for Les Marquis, from cradle bound for cavalry. I feel alive, how can it be? Upon this wide open sea, there was a time I was so alive, a Paris. Third part, the pleasures and the dreams of men. I sing their song, and you know what I like? One more thing. As it moves through these different movements, even though there is a change, like as I'm following the lyrics and listening to the music, you can hear and see where it changes between the movements. But at the same time, if these movements were never titled or put here, you would never know because of how well the whole track just flows very naturally. I sing their song, I mesmerize, the sweat and the tears stream from my eyes, the shock impact of every line. I sing to their souls all the dreams I would bring, I show them who they are and all they could be, all the ugliness and the beauty of the harsh reality. I gave them the man they want me to be and held up the mirror so they could see themselves reflected. Like the way others respond to you is almost like you're a mirror to them and their actions and who they are. I made the myth where the man begins, where the man ends and the legend begins. I made the myth where the man ends and the legend begins. The harbor lights. In the evening they'll be drinking and swinging the lamps, drinking and brawling, telling tall tales, their fishy tales, around and around on the merry-go-round. And all the love that they'll make between tussled sheets, bed springs creak in time to their heartbeats, and the click of the heels down the cobbled streets. Let us remind the old lovers for whom the wine has turned sour. Are we talking Genesis here? So Revelation. This could be the finest hour of their time in the giddy hell of the carousel. Like a carousel keeps on going round and round, and life goes on and round in cycles, always repeating. Far beyond the cardinal points. I've been waiting here a long time. I've been waiting for the longest night of my days out here alone. I'm so very far from here. So very far from here. Home is a long way from me. From the way out to sea. Let us speak of love. Let us speak of love, of home and hope, loving and leaving, of laughter and forgetting and letting go. So I'm reading these and just forming a story in my mind, because as I'm reading this, I'm really just getting at least if I'm reading this literally, the experiences and the journeys and the adventures of this particular individual who's in the cavalry. As the second part said, from cradle to cavalry. This is just a poetic way of talking about his life on the wide open sea. One day we're born, on another we die. What lies in between's unimportant in this life. I feel the ache in my chest as I draw breath. So let us speak of love, love and generosity, and if we only have love, it's more than enough. Okay, he says what lies in between's unimportant in this life. Like it's important in the afterlife, or his version of an afterlife. And yet at the same time, he says, if we only have love in between, that is enough. And it repeats, of course, the same lines from the beginning. But this time, there's definitely much more menace than the ambience with which it was sung previously. The sea is my blood, the rain and stars my eyes, the clouds are my mind. Maybe he's a navigator for the cavalry. Maybe, like the Navy or something of that nature. That's how I read this. Just someone, just as the same with East Coast Racer, it was an ode to trains and the engines and those who worked on those engines and lived and breathed on those engines. You could say that they had locomotive breath.
Please clap.
And here I'm getting a similar ode, but in this case to those who feel that they are part of the sea, whether they work on the sea, Navy, someone like that, or a navigator, or fisherman even, someone who has some sort of deep connection to the sea. I view it in the same way as East Coast Racer, whereas, of course, one is on land. This one is in those beautiful watery depths. And that's all I got to say about that. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate you coming on in and hopefully enjoying the music, enjoying myself as well. I appreciate you spending a little slice of the pie that is your time and your day with myself. It was tasty pie. Let me know what you guys thought of it, of course, in the comments down below. Blah, 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 blah. Paul, thank you so much for the sponsorship and thank you for the support. Really, really appreciate that. Enjoy the rest of your day, guys, and I will see you later. Bye.